One of the happiest times in my life was back in the summer of 2018. And it's interesting because this period in my life actually followed one of the worst periods in my life. I was depressed, I had anxiety, and to top it off, me and my girlfriend at the time had just split up. And to say the least, I had basically hit rock bottom. And it's not a coincidence the fact that the happiest period of my life followed that, because it's only once you've hit rock bottom that your life can go up. And that was definitely the case for me. Because prior to this, I had been on self-improvement, but never to the point that I did within this period of my life. This summer of 2018, in the span of 4 months, I completely changed every aspect of my being: physical, mental, spiritual. And honestly, sometimes I look back to that time when I see photos and videos. I honestly wish that I had captured it a little bit more. I wish I started recording these kind of videos. I wish that I had something there, because it would have saved me a lot of period in my life after the fact. Because the truth is, as great as things were in that period of my life, I fell off again, because life continued after that. I went back to school for another 3 years. Well, actually, I went back to school for another year at that point. I was in a 3-year program. So 1 year after that, graduated, and then I started working online. And life just continued from that point. I had a few more relationships. I started making money online, and things were seemingly good, right? The thing was, inside, I wasn't actually happy. I wasn't actually fulfilled. See, I was doing everything that I was supposed to, right? Making money and just enjoying my day, just by doing what everybody else does. Just playing some video games, scrolling through Instagram. That's basically what my life was. It was like I was making money so easily. Honestly, at this period of my life, just 2023, money was coming in passively. I was making thousands of dollars every month without really doing much work, just through my online business. And so at that period of my life, I felt like I made it, because that was what I had wanted for so long. My objective was to make money, and I started to do it. But I wasn't happy, and I didn't understand why. And it took me so long to get to this point, to realize why I was not happy. When I was at my happiest back in 2018, I was not making money at all. In fact, I was still a college student, right? I didn't have a job just yet. I mean, I did some like part-time jobs and stuff like that, but I wasn't making very much money. But I was so happy because I was doing all the good habits. I had cut out all the bad habits, everything. I cleaned up my diet. I was exercising every day. I was meditating. I was going for walks. I was sleeping right. Every part of my day was amazing. And you would not believe just how happy and fulfilled you can be when you're doing these things. Because when you're stuck in this cycle of bad habits, it's really hard to see good habits as something that you actually want to do. But the reason that I started doing these is because I had no other choice. Like I said, I had basically hit rock bottom in this period of my life. It was like there was no place else but up. It gave me pressure. It gave me motivation to make a difference, to change my life. And if I hadn't reached that point, I wouldn't have made any progress. I would have just been stuck, complacent. And as bad as it was at the time, I'm grateful for that experience. I'm grateful for that pain that I went through, because it's only through pain that you actually see growth. And that's what I saw. And it was incredible. But the fact is, I forgot about it. I forgot how amazing that I felt during this time. And my mind was set on other things. Now, my point is not to start talking about how making money is bad. That's not the point, because it's something that I still want, but I want to do it in a better way. So this isn't about money. What it is about is aligning your life with things that are actually going to fulfill you. Stepping away from instant gratification and going towards delayed gratification. Now, what does this mean, right? Instant gratification, you probably are very aware of. Things like social media, video games, junk food, all of these things will stimulate you. And they feel good in the moment, but they will always leave you feeling unhappy in the end. But delayed gratification, on the other hand, is very different, because these things don't necessarily feel good in the very beginning. They don't, right? Going on walks, meditating, journaling, all of these good habits that I know you're already aware of don't feel good in the beginning. You don't really want to do them. Maybe you could get yourself to do them every once in a while, but you don't genuinely want to do them. You just kind of do it because, well, you want to make progress, but you don't always stick with them, right? The way that you stick with them is by removing all these bad habits first, because these bad habits are what's holding you back from introducing good habits and seeing real progress in your life. By becoming happy. You can't become happy while still maintaining these bad habits and trying to introduce good ones. You're going to overwhelm yourself. And you know, when you have the choice between two things, your brain is always going to seek out the one that's going to give instant pleasure, instant gratification. That's why when you have the choice between, going on a walk or watching Netflix, you're going to choose the one that's easier in the moment. But when you remove these things completely, basically the only choice that you have is to do those good habits. And what's interesting is you genuinely enjoy them. Why do you think I come on these walks every day? I come on a walk every single day. Now, some days it feels more challenging than others. Okay, that's just the truth. But overall, it feels incredible. Just like it did back in 2018 for me when I started doing these walks. And for so long, I completely forgot how amazing it felt, because then I got caught up making money, and then start engaging with these instant gratification activities. And because of that, it kept me stuck. It kept me stuck in a loop, because I felt like everything was fine. There wasn't really a problem. There wasn't any real reason to change, because I was happy. You and I both know that's not real happiness. That's just entertainment. That's why you don't actually feel happy even when you engage in these behaviors for so many hours. You could play video games throughout the entire night. You could watch Netflix and binge watch series, right? And it feels good in the moment, but always at the end, you don't feel any better. And you know why? Because you're left depleted of energy. That's just the truth. You've depleted your dopamine levels. Dopamine is a chemical in your brain. And by engaging in these behaviors, you are literally messing up your dopamine levels. And that's why you don't feel happy. And so the only way to fix this is by doing a dopamine detox. And what was interesting is that is literally what I did in 2018. Before anyone really even coined the term, I had never even heard of the phrase dopamine detox. In fact, I didn't even know what dopamine was back then. But guess what? I still knew what I needed. I knew all the good habits. I didn't know the science behind why it worked, and I didn't really need to know why. Now, I think it's useful to know the reason why, but it's not always necessary, because intuitively, you know, going on a walk is better than playing video games, right? You could just figure that out without much thought, right? Meditating, that's better than watching Netflix. You know these things, and yet it's so hard to follow through with them. And it's simply because your dopamine levels are messed up right now by engaging in these behaviors. Now, I want to share what I was talking about in the beginning, and the reason why I was actually able to make this change in 2018 and actually have the most fulfilling period of my life, aside from where I'm at right now, because in a way I actually feel like I've perhaps even exceeded that happiness level right now in a more mature way, I guess you could say, because I have more experience. But with that aside, all that to say that it was because I started doing these good habits. But the way that I was able to get to them was because I had hit rock bottom first. You see, you only make a change in your life when it's absolutely necessary. Change only happens when it becomes a must for you. If you're only at the point where you should change, or you might change, or you feel like it would be good, but you're not quite there yet, you're not going to make the change. It's as simple as that. And you could try and force yourself through willpower to adopt good habits, but they're never going to stick long term. And that's simply because you don't have enough of a reason why you should change. That's step one. You need to first have a reason why you need to change in the first place. Because if you don't have that, nothing else matters. Nothing else will follow. The reason why I was able to change was because things got so bad for me, and I recognized the point that I was at. I literally had hit rock bottom, and it was so dark for me that I saw no alternative. Improve, or there's no sense in being here. That's a powerful place to be. It doesn't feel good to be in that place, but it is good. Because when you feel that pain with such intensity, with such emotion, that's when it's going to actually get you to propel forward. That's what's going to make you make the change. But until you get to that point, it's not going to happen. You'll keep relying on willpower, and that is not enough to make the transformation that I know you want to see. If you want to see real progress in your life, if you want to truly feel happy, to feel fulfilled, to improve your mental health, the way to do it is a dopamine detox, to cut out all stimulation and implement good habits. But the only way you can get to that point is by first realizing you have to, not because someone else tells you to, but because you know in your heart that's what you need. Nobody told me back in 2018, hey, you should probably cut these things out and then you'll improve your life. I knew what I needed to do. And it was only because I had hit that point that I just fell through with them. I followed through with them. But like I said, after that, I kind of just forgot about it and life carried on. And I fell back into old habits. Because guess what? There wasn't as much of a reason to do these good habits anymore. I was complacent. Even though I wasn't fully fulfilled, I wasn't satisfied, it was just enough to keep me stuck. And that's a dangerous place to be. In fact, that's a place where a lot of people are. Because they're not really happy, but they're not dissatisfied enough to make a change. Now look, you don't need to get to the point where you actually hit rock bottom. You could do it to yourself right now. Now, what do I mean? Well, you don't need to physically make your life worse than it actually is. All you need to do is see where you're at right now. Feel the pain of where you're at right now. And on top of that, where will these actions, these behaviors, these beliefs that you're carrying right now lead you to in the next 5, 10, 20 years from now? Really think about that and feel it. When I did this back in November of 2024, so just a few months ago, I felt it with such intensity that I realized that I absolutely needed to make a change. Because if I didn't, I knew where my life was leading. It wasn't until I realized that I made the change, and I haven't looked back. It got so painful within my emotions when I visualized my future by staying stuck, by staying exactly where I am right now. If I were to continue on that path, what would be the cost of not making that change? Feeling that pain was a good thing. Again, it won't feel good. It'll feel very uncomfortable, and that's why most people will never do this. They'll distract themselves from the pain that they're feeling, right? That's what I was doing for so long. I was distracting myself from the fact that I wasn't really satisfied with my life, so I would turn to distractions, instant gratification, because you feel entertained, distracted, just enough that it's not enough pressure to make you change. So when I did this visualization for myself, I saw where I was going to end up. I was not happy with it. I was not happy with where I was going, and I knew that I needed to make a change. When you get to that point and your reason is strong enough, the why will take care of itself. Reasons come first, answers come second. Everybody always wants to start with, okay, give me the answer. You don't even have enough of a reason to follow through in the first place. When you have that reason, when you have that strong desire within you to make the change, things will start happening automatically. I know that may seem hard to believe, but I'm telling you, because like I said earlier, you already know what the good habits are that you should be doing. It's just that you haven't gotten to the point where it feels like an absolute must for you. Get to that point now. Don't wait for 5, 10 years from now when you have to look back and say, man, I really wish that I should have made that change. I should have done it. You do not want to be in that place. Do it to yourself now. See the future for what it will be. Not worse than it will be, but not better. Don't delude yourself. Don't cope. You need to see the truth. Feel that pain with intensity. And when you do that, you will have made a strong enough reason why. And through that pressure, you will change your actions. That's the first step to making change. That's how I did it back in 2018. And that's how I did it again. This time through visualization rather than actually getting to the point of rock bottom. I had enough experience from the past to know that that was what it took. It took that amount of pressure before, that pain, to get me to take action. I didn't want to wait for that to happen this time around. So I visualized it, felt the pain now. So that way I don't actually have to experience it. And because of that, I'm now so fulfilled. I enjoy every day and I feel truly happy. It's incredible. And if you're watching this far, I know that this is what you want. Somebody who actually is willing to put in the work, but maybe just needed a little bit of guidance on how to get there. If you weren't serious about making this change, there is no way that you would have gotten this far into this message. So I really hope you take this seriously. Go through a visualization, see the pain, the future for what it really is, and feel it. And then at that point, you will have enough of a reason to make the change.